Here's to Thirsty Thursdays. Ah,
Hola. Thursday's almost over. What are we doing? We got to get this in. And yes, I am wearing pajamas. You got your cans? Huh? I know you do. All right, let's do this. First, we skim the top. Then we get the gutter. Then we blow. Oh, yeah. And now we hear the click. Oh, hold on. Emergency. Can't forget my rocket tab. Don't tell anybody. But Lucas actually made these and the website. He was too embarrassed to tell. But now you know. Okay. Let's open this up. Ready? And we are. Oh, yeah. Don't leave home without it. All right, fam. Now we pour. We pour until we see the bubbles. And when we see the bubbles, what do we do? What do we do? Oh, we dream. Close our eyes and dream. Big breath. Right now, I'm dreaming that certain things get repackaged and they become more easy. Yes. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Let's pour up the rest of this. Da 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 da. Oh, yeah. We're rocking a Fresca today, fam. Going out on a different level here. Smaller, fatter can. No caffeine. It's going to be a minute. Well, let's talk about it. The week that was, we decided to move away from our ad agency. We've been paying for ads and funneling leads, learning a lot. We've done this for the third time now. The first couple of times we tried to advertise for some lead gen to the salon. It just didn't go that well. Good squishy, fam. That's good squishy. It didn't go that well, but that doesn't mean it can't, So anyway, we waited a lot of years, and then we actually got hooked up with Isaiah Quiones, his cousin. I think he's his cousin. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I might be screwing this up. But anyway, cool kid. He runs a cool shop. He's young. He's a hustler. He gets it. And so we tried running ads again for a while. So since last July, I think, for sure since last August, but I think in July, and we had to fine tune some things, which took longer than anticipated. But anyway, we ran some ads, and it's just really hard for the way the salon is run or ran, whatever you say that. It's really hard to do lead gen because it's not, ooh, this looks pretty. Oh, I like this. I make an appointment and then I show up. There's like a process to it. So we like to get to know the client. They go through an application process, and that takes care of a lot of things. It lets them know what they're getting themselves into as far as cost. It lets us know what we're getting ourselves into as far as a client, and we see if there's a good fit there. And it also gives Allie a chance to talk with them. She's really good on the phone, so she closes 99% of the people that actually fill out an application and phone in and speak with her. So that's another reason why we have the process. And when it comes to running ads for that and generating leads specifically for that, it's just not so black and white as a buyer's experience. Say you're looking into a software or something and you have your sales call and your demo and all that. Those are even real estate or insurance. Those seem to do a bit better with lead gen as opposed to the salon industry. Not to say it can't work for others or isn't currently working for others. It's just how our model works. It's not so cut and dry. And we might try it again. Who knows? But for the time being, we're going to put a pause on that. And the hair website wasn't what we thought it was going to be. The function of it specifically, it just was not up to par at all. Mistakes every single time. We were, quote, 100% ready. And finally, we just let them both go. Ripped the Band-Aid off, said, we'll try ads another time, maybe down the road for the salon. And then when it comes to the hair website and advertising for that, we actually started from scratch Friday afternoon. I believe it was Friday. And we have a site that's live. We have customers, albeit customers that could have a better experience. Customers. We still have customers. we can't say it's gone or whatever, but we shut down the ads and we built a new site. I was up till 3:30 in the morning, maybe a little bit earlier, later, however you want to look at it. But I was not going to be defeated. I got the foundation going all in one night. 82 SKUs, all the product listings, descriptions, photos, connecting all the social media accounts, connecting up all the analytics, Google, Microsoft, connecting the payments so we can take people's money, figuring out all the basic stuff as far as like email campaigns, so abandoned cart campaigns, you left something in your cart campaign type thing. So when you leave something in your cart, but then you just forget about it, that's one type of campaign. And then if you put something in your cart and you bounce, that's a different type of campaign. Got all those set up. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, all the logos, all that stuff. So anyway, from about noon that day, not noon, 3:00 that day. Sorry, I haven't slept a lot this week. Hustling up this website, make sure we go live in a week with a full-on e-commerce site, over 100 SKUs. It's been taxing. So anyway, that was a big part of this week, getting that together. But we did. We're going live tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The site will be back up and running, live inventory, everything, tracking. It's just going to be so much better. We had a lot of experience with Shopify with our previous company, Bathpack. And so that helps as well. I'm a little bit familiar. It's changed a little bit since we sold Bathpack. But the great thing about AI is it really, if you just, relax and let it can really help you. And Shopify's new AI is kick-ass. You can essentially not have to dig for anything. You just ask the AI. So the new site, if you couldn't tell, is built on Shopify. And with their new AI thing, you can just type in, I want to do this, and then it does it for you. I don't know how to do that. Then it shows you how. And when you're building products and listings and all that kind of stuff, it's just kind of, there's a lot of copying and pasting, and you got to fine tune some of the details. But as far as like overall doing the chunky stuff, it does it for you, which was a lifesaver, because I wouldn't have stayed up till 3 in the morning or however late it was that one night, putting in all those 80 whatever SKUs. It would have bled into the next day when the sun was up. Not just, bleeding into the next day while it's still dark. The sun would have risen and I would have still been doing that. But believe it or not, that was a big chunk of this week. Older boys, they're out in Targhee. They go on a skiing trip each year. So they're up there doing their thing this weekend. I think it bleeds into Monday. Fam, it snowed. What the hell? It snowed. It snowed. I was getting ready to put the snow melt away. The sun was shining. We're in the 50s. I think it might even hit 60 degrees early in the week, and for sure the week before. And I'll tell you what, it just started blazing snow 2 days ago, and it's nuts, man. I was so, even in a 4-wheel drive Jeep, I couldn't make it up a certain hill. I had to find a different way to get to where I was going. So the snow has arrived. I was joking with everybody. What are we going to do for Christmas? I can't believe it's Christmas already. Because I'll tell you what, Christmas was very dry and bright, and we're getting into that lousy March weather. You know what I mean? Simpsons deep cut. That's good squishy. Yeah, so the weather was crazy. The podcast has been busy. The card is getting closer and closer, so I have a schnockload of editing to do to pump out next week. So next week has pretty much every day filled with something. So we can, if we can cue that up, then the following week when we're actually doing live interviews, we won't have to worry about what we're publishing, what we're doing. It'll all be in place. So lots of interviews this past week. And the week ahead is going to be a lot of editing, a lot of publishing, a lot of fine-tuning, which is good. Keeps me busy. And how personal do we want to get? Man, this week had some nuances that were interesting. When you own a small business, and we are just a small business, we're working on things to hopefully grow a little bit larger, but we really are, at the end of the day, a small business. And like anything in life, when things are clicking, it's not that things come easier, but they're more manageable, I would say. Excuse me, I got a bit of a runny nose. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're necessarily easier. They're just a bit more manageable. So for everyone who follows the pod, what's up, 7-8 people? This is why we should probably get personal, because nobody's listening to this. Yeah, the past 3 years have been interesting. And so 3 years ago was interesting. 2 years ago was even more interesting / okay, what are we going to do? And last year was all about, okay, what are we going to do? And we had some surprises. So you pivot, as they say, and you jig and adjust, as Ali would say, and you project your financial modeling in this avenue, in this way, when the surprises come up. But the problem is when you do that, everything has to stay the same. There can't be any changes because your financial modeling is based on reality, and you can only project reality as far as you can see it, right? The projections, the future. So as long as nothing changes, we're going to be okay. And that was kind of the mantra all last year. Sorry, fam, I'm jumping around a little bit. I'm really tired, and yeah. And it's just been, well, let's take a step back. So 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and last year, oh my gosh. So we started off the year with our investing in our own hairline. Always wanted to do it. Ali finally had the wherewithal to be like, yeah, I can have my own brand. I can promote myself. I don't just need to promote others. She, for whatever reason, that's always been a scare tactic to her. She just is shy about promoting herself, which seems wrong on the outside looking in, because you're like, what do you mean? She promotes herself all day. She promotes the salon and this and that. And I would say that the salon is still one layer away. It's got her name on it, but it's not, it involves a lot of people. And to put her name and her brand on one single thing directly pointing to her is a difficult thing for her to get over. That's a big hurdle for her emotionally, and whatever else. But anyway, at the beginning of the year, we invested in a hairline. We were told we had to do it in a certain way. So we got the resources, invested in that, and come to find out, we didn't have to do that. That was just a line, if you will. But whatever, can't change it. This is our situation. This is going to be our financial modeling. And if nothing changes, we're going to be all right. Now, some of you small business owners out there will be laughing when I say if nothing changes, but hear me out. In the salon world, in the hair industry, if you're dialed in as we are, you really can project and you really can say if nothing changes, because we had such a track record year after year, the same numbers, year after year, the same people, year after year, the same expenses, very much dialed in. The only thing that would change is if we lost a couple clients here, or we gained a couple clients there, or we didn't sell a lot of product here, or, whatever, right? So when I say if nothing changes, it wasn't just willy-nilly. It was kind of just, okay, this is our future. We see it. This is what we hold back on. If nothing changes, we'll be all right. So that was one. 2 was investing in 3 things. The first thing was a stylist education course. The second thing was a salon ownership education course. And the last thing was a CRM with previous, whatever you want to call them, coaches, consultants, whatever. There was all these promises, but nothing really was received. A product was never really given. And that was in the past. There was a new group of people that Ali was drawn to because of just referrals and things like that. People seemed to be having success. And that was the group that was going to build out all these things for us. And it was a massive investment. And we knew the risk, right? But we also knew the reward. And with Ali finally getting some confidence, there's really no doubt in anybody's mind that we can make this work. Will more than make up the investment. And it's a thing like the hair. These courses are Ali's personal brand on them. But it's also, as far as like driving a new revenue stream, it's Ali's hands are off. She doesn't have to literally carry every piece of hair and deliver it. She doesn't have to literally email all these people that buy a digital course. See, we're growing the brand finally after all these years, Look, Ali was a young pup when she came around, and, looking back, she deserves a lot of kudos. She really does. I mean, she started a company at 25, but I always had this mentality of listen to me, because I've made all the mistakes and I've had success and I've had failures, and I'm 10 and a half years older than her, right? So like we can avoid some of these pain points, but at any rate, we're finally to the point now where we see these things. We see these mistakes. We see that people aren't always who they say they are. we see that the sky is blue, but sometimes there's a cloud before we see that the sky is blue. So we have a hairline investment. We have digital assets investment, which was a huge investment. So was the hair. And again, with the hair, we were told one thing. Come to find out that wasn't the case. It was just, are you kidding me? All right, keep moving. We go to the other thing with the digital assets, and they took forever. Promises were made. Things were built, which was a positive. We did get a product. It looks awesome. It looks great. If you're a fan of the pod, you've heard me talk about it for about a year. And what happened there was people are pushing us to do one thing. When we can't do it, we have to do this other thing. And until we figure that out, who knows? But that was number 3. Fourth challenge. We had some girls leave and do their own thing. And then it was a couple more girls left to go do their own thing. And the reality of that situation was, now these numbers might sound big, but it's never what it seems. You always have to dial it in and really know what the actual cash is. But for Thirsty Thursday purposes, I'll tell you. So we were projected to do a certain number, and our goal was always to do $5 million a year, because at $5 million a year in the hair business, it gives you breathing room to where you don't have to be so much behind the chair. Because $5 million in revenue, fam, for those that don't know, is not what you're bringing home. I don't know who's listening to the pod, what experience you may have, but just because you earn $1 in a company doesn't mean you're taking the dollar home. So anyway, just keep that in mind. So when the girls left, we lost right off the rip because of the clients that went with them. You know, we're talking $480,000 in revenue. So we've got the hair, we've got the digital assets, and now we have people leaving. All of these things cost a lot of money. All of these things have to be dealt with because at the end of the day, the ship's got to keep going. You just have to. So that's going on. We scramble. We're doing okay, but it just compounds and compounds and compounds pretty quickly. So you get to the point where you're just like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And nobody cares. And let me explain. People really do look out for themselves, which is fine. I think that's normal, human nature, whatever. But it's hard when you have people telling you you're in this together and you no longer are. Bye-bye, see ya. That's tough. But it doesn't matter. You got to keep going, right? And at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. And I think part of last year was so devastating is people can say what they want about Allie, because of her presence, because of her passion, because of her intensity at times. People can judge her and say things about her, but at the end of the day, if she rides with you above everything else in life. Fact. And she gives all of herself, all of her energy, all of everything to build you up. And the risk in that is, people grow. And if they see themselves growing apart from that, and they do part themselves away, well, now what? Well, now all the emotions come back in the opposite way. So everything you put in, you're feeling as if it was now gone and empty. So you have to battle through all that. And quite frankly, fam, that could be a 3-hour discourse. But I'm getting to why the week was hard, I swear. So, or why the week was tired and draining and all that kind of stuff. So we get through all that and we say, okay, if we can just get this injection, we can make it till this and we'll be all right. And then what happens? Well, more girls leave. More stylists feel like there's a different path for them. And some of them, it's not even really a different path, fam. It's just life. The girls, we were lucky enough to have them for a long time and watch them grow, get married, buy new cars, buy houses, have kids. And kids were a major factor, the last year. People have to live their life. And if that life makes it so they can't do their work because of certain things, yeah, that's, of course, right? But as the business, you still have to keep going. And you wish them the best. You wish them well, of course. But you still have to find a way to make up for everything that's leaving. And where we thought we were going to lose about 480-ish, we ended up losing quite a bit more because more girls left. And what it does is it compounds. And what do? You sell your Porsche. You know what I'm saying? You cut back on expenses. What was fun money in the business is now like no longer fun. It's strategic. It's real. It just kept compounding. And the one thing we had, or the four things we had to produce revenue, the 3 digital assets and the hairline, well, I can't speak to the digital assets. That's a whole nother podcast. And frankly, Ali should be here for that. But we did have one course completely finished. It looked pimp. It looked awesome, but just a lot of nuances. It's being delayed. And same with the CRM and the salon owner course. Again, at least we got a product out of it. This is huge. So once it's all there and available and we work out whatever's going on behind the scenes, cool. We've got the asset. Let's go, baby. But for me, I know we have the salon. I know we have the hair site. And so when the hair site wasn't working and it kept breaking and on, God bless those kids, but they just couldn't pull it off. So that was supposed to be revenue driver in the background while this was going on, the hair site. And it didn't get there. So that all leads up to this past week. It's still compounding. And we're still trying to find a way to make up for what we've lost. It's been very real. It's been very emotional. It's been very stressful, but it's also been very good because it shows you what you're made of. And everyone goes through it, right? All business owners do. Look, Mark Cuban doesn't become Mark Cuban overnight. He literally earned that and got that over years of who knows the hell, right? And it's similar if you're in a small business situation. It doesn't look, fam. It doesn't matter if, say you owe somebody, $4 million and you don't have the money to pay it and they're just, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's that amount or if you owe somebody $4 or you need to make up, for a more realistic way of putting it, you need to make up for $4 that left. The stress is very, very similar, if not the same, because you don't know how to do, you don't know exactly how you're going to do it, and it's not figured out, and it's all trial and error. So if one thing isn't there and that gets compounded and that gets compounded again, as far as revenue is concerned, you need something in the background to kind of make up for that revenue. And when that's not going, if that also is not going, well, we got ourselves a pickle. So that's why, in a very roundabout, I believe Trump calls that the wave. Hey, don't worry, fam. Whether you like Trump or not, I don't give a shit. I voted for Allie's dad. Facts. So forgive the wave, if you will, but it all leads back to this last week because at that moment, when the site and all that wasn't functioning, it was just like, okay, lock the fuck in, get it done. We're going to have a site live in a week. And I think that's the difference between people who say they want to own a business and the people who actually do own the business and succeed. You do whatever it takes. And what sucks is you still don't know. Tomorrow's a new day. You still don't know. But you do what you can. No excuses. So if we need a site live, fully functioning, looks pretty, the whole bit, automation's in place, SEO tags in place, search bar, like the whole thing. If we need it live in 7 days, you get that bitch live in 7 days. So where are we going with all this? I'm not too sure. Sometimes Thirsty Thursday is just a bit of a therapy, but we will find a way out, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And for what was lost over the past 3 years, especially this last year, it will be gained. Fam, maybe it's not, maybe not the way we think, but it will be gained to where we can get back at it, start crushing it, kicking butt and taking names. Man, I think I need a drink now. Yeah. I think that's it. Look, it's late at night. I'm in my pajamas, got the hair greased back, a little bit more low energy, I'm not a spaz all the time. You feel me? Oh, speaking of spazzes, Ronda Rousey's fighting Gina Carano. What? I wish this fight happened literally 8-9 years ago, but they're doing it now. And it's a big deal if you're in the MMA world. We wanted this fight for a long time. It's finally happening. Kudos. Shout out Jake Paul. What's up, son? I'm putting that together. So I applied for media credentials. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's kind of a lighter thing that's going on, keeping me distracted, pushing through. And speaking of that, obviously that's related to the Slap Son side of the podcast. So I applied for media credentials for Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. We'll see how that goes. And then, like I said at the beginning, we're leading up to this new card, March 6th, Las Vegas. It's the healthiest distraction ever. Getting excited about that, getting everything ready so we can do live interviews. And that's good. That's healthy. But I think we're to the point where we're going to have to make some hard decisions, and we'll make those and we'll get through them. And I'll get my ass back in the gym. I haven't worked out, fam. Since August, I think I've worked out maybe 4 times. Maybe 4, which we need to get back in the gym. A ripped Joe is a happy Joe. A strong Joe is a happy Joe. A Joe with his shirt off all the time, nobody can touch this guy. Now, if only we could get Allie to jump my bones every time my shirt comes off. When we're ripped and confident Joe. You know what I mean? Woo! Christmas every day. All right, that's enough of that, fam. Thursday, another one in the books. It's going to be all right. And speaking of it's going to be all right, remember this, the person looking back at you in that mirror, they are going to be okay. Cheers, fam. Let's have a great night.